Before I learned about the stock market or passive income or financial freedom, there was one thing that I learned when I was young, and that was lying is bad. It just is. And I guess it helps me now because, I provide the truth right here on the channel 7 days a week. Too bad the same can't be said for when people show up to Congress. And it's gotten so bad that one senator is asking Washington, D.C. to investigate one very, very important person for lying. Here's a clue. This guy is basically the definition of science. You got it?
Senator Rand Paul is coming for Dr. Anthony Fauci. The Kentucky Republican has referred the former White House advisor for criminal charges, potentially. Paul is demanding a perjury probe accusing Fauci of lying under oath during testimony before a Senate committee in 2021. Paul said in a statement, Dr. Fauci testified that the NIH does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology. In a subsequent hearing, I warned Dr. Fauci of the criminal implications of lying to Congress and offered him an opportunity to recant his previous statements.
This was a long time coming, and Fauci never retracted his statement. And if he lied, then he should face the music, right? In fact, if you ask me, he should face the American people. But what statements were actually uttered by the good old doctor, huh? Let's go ahead and turn back time for a second here.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function.
So
let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans.
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about. Okay, you get
NIH,
one person.
Let's read from the NIH definition of gain of function. This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain of function. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
Y'all know I had to fire up the search engine for that one, right? What the heck is gain of function, right? Well, it says here, gain of function research genetically alters an organism, yada, yada, yada. And here, it says it can enhance transmissibility.
There's a lot of controversy over the origins of the coronavirus that sparked the pandemic. Questions over where the virus came from have fueled another debate over a kind of research where scientists tweak the genetic information of a virus or other pathogen to give it new properties. It's called gain of function, and this isn't the first time it's come under scrutiny. Its use in research years ago made way for two of the most controversial studies in modern science. See those titles? They don't look all that concerning, but some thought the details were. For those experiments, scientists modified a potentially deadly virus and supercharged it. Virologists were testing how a type of bird flu, which can be deadly to humans but doesn't transmit well among people, would need to change genetically to have pandemic potential. In the 2000s, the flu strain involved in those studies had caused major health problems globally. But still, it wasn't as contagious as some public health experts thought a major pandemic-causing virus could be. For the studies, the scientists altered the virus's genetic information in very specific ways that would help the pathogen spread among ferrets more easily. Ferrets are often used as stand-ins for humans because they're susceptible to some of the same viruses. In one study, the unmodified version of the virus didn't spread through the air among ferrets, but the genetically modified flu had a new capability: airborne transmission. That's a key ingredient of a pandemic virus.
It's literally part of this kind of research, and Fauci just plainly and arrogantly said it's not. Give me a break, man. But okay, if you say so. Now, before we get back to this video, please do me a favor by smashing the like button and make sure you guys are still subscribed to the channel. Appreciate the love, you guys. Back to Paul and Fauci.
How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic.
And let's send Dr. Fauci.
I have to, well, now you're getting into something. If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well,
we don't
wait
know
a
if
minute.
it did
I
come
can-
from the lab, but all
You-
the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab,
You-
and there will be responsibility for those who funded the
Right.
lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee
resent,
will allow the witness to
I
respond.
totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those
It
viruses
is-
caused it.
it
No
is
one is alleging that
molecularly-
those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That
You
is
can't
not-
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not
Senator Paul,
obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's
one.
time is expired, but I will allow the witness to.
Let me just finish. I want everyone to understand that if you look at those viruses, and that's judged by qualified virologists and evolutionary biologists, those viruses are molecularly impossible
No one's
to
saying
result
they are. No
in
one's saying those viruses
SARS-CoV-2.
caused the pandemic.
Senator Paul,
We're saying they are gain-of-function viruses because they were
they're not.
animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
And
won't
you,
admit the truth.
and you
Senator
implying,
Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to respond. Dr.
and you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individual. I totally resent
could
that.
have
And
been.
if
That it
anybody
could
is
have been.
lying here, Senator, it is you.
Man, had to add that point, huh? You lied, Senator. You're the liar because I'm pointing the finger at you. Now, what's hilarious about this is that mainstream media ate this up. They drew Paul as the liar and praised Fauci for preaching the truth, all right? You know what? The title of the actual video that's posted from this news outlet says that Fauci excoriates. Did I say that right? Excoriates? Anyway, he excoriates Senator Paul, which literally means that Fauci skinned the senator in this exchange. Do you see the same thing as CNN seeing? I mean, the gaslighting is just kind of dreadful because Paul wasn't asking about a grant. Fauci just led him to a whole nother conversation, man. And the doctor repeatedly talked about experts that said that this thing wasn't a lab leak, that it's a conspiracy theory of some sort, right? Well, March 7th of this year, and articles came out that this paper that he's talking about, this so-called scientific study, turns out it was prompted by, drumroll please, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Wow. So he hatched this plan back in February 2020, very early into this whole pandemic thing. That kind of reminds me of this other guy who had a paper release so that he can use it to defend himself. Who was he again? Man, I can't remember, but his case is most probably over now since, so long ago, right? Now, for anybody who's new to the channel, I use a lot of sarcasm, like a lot. Get used to it. But anyway, did Fauci dance well enough to avoid making it obvious that he was lying to Congress? I mean, just imagine Fauci dancing the Macarena or the Cha-Cha Slide or something like that. Sorry, don't mind me, just thinking out loud. So yeah, if Senator Paul can prove that Fauci lied under oath, what happens next? Well, he could be charged for perjury, fined for it, and serve up to 5 years in jail. However, this is the tricky part. Do any of you honestly believe that any semblance of accountability will be taken here? Will the Department of Justice really look into this? And ultimately, do the American people deserve the truth? Well, here's hoping that something actually does come out of this because, to be honest with you guys, we've seen a lot of talk from these people, but in terms of action, we've seen none. What are your thoughts on all this? By the way, if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below this video. And while you guys are down there, make sure you let me know what you guys think about this discussion today in the comment section down below. Really appreciate you guys for hanging out. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all the subscribes. And I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one.